Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Wednesday, July 31st, 2024, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. I'm live here in Chicago at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention, where earlier today, Donald Trump made a total ass out of himself, and frankly, so did NABJ. We'll show you some of the outrageous, insane things that Trump had to say, and we'll talk about how it was beyond a debacle. Shelley Wynter is conservative radio talk show host in Atlanta, supporting Donald Trump. Can't wait to hear what he has to say about how his candidate looked like an absolute idiot in front of this crowd. We're going to break all that down. It is time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, hashtag we tried to tell you. Folks like me tried to tell NABJ it was an awful idea to bring Donald Trump, especially with the panelists who were questioning him today. It was supposed to start around noon, did not get started late. And what did he do? He came out there immediately insulting NABJ, talking about how he had him waiting 35 minutes. They put out a tweet claiming the audio was bad. That was an absolute lie. The real issue backstage, the Trump people did not want to be fact-checked in real time by PolitiFact. In fact, it didn't take Donald Trump any time at all to do what he is very good at, that is insulting black female journalists. This was the first question asked by Rachel Scott of ABC. Listen to this shameful response.
Exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden.
Come back. Okay, first of all, folks, I need the control room. I need her question. I need you to play her question and then hear his answer. Okay? So let me know when y'all have, okay, now y'all got it? Play it.
About some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working, or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that black voters should trust you with another 4 years.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a definition then. Would you give me a definition of that? Give me a definition of that.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is...
I think somebody should look into that, too, when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans have said?
I really don't know. I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length. And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that interview.
You told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are...
Okay, pause right there. Okay, first of all, there's no way in hell I'm going to let y'all even go and run that shameful, despicable question from Harris Faulkner, who was a total embarrassment on the panel today. The young lady, I don't have her name, from Semaphore, she had no business being on that panel. The only person on that panel, the three people asking questions, who brought credibility, who brought toughness, and who was trying to hold Donald Trump accountable, was Rachel Scott from ABC News. I saw Lindsay Davis in the hallway before I came out here, and I told Lindsay, I'm going to personally tell Rachel that she was absolutely amazing. The other two were useless. Their questions were ridiculous. You did not hear questions specifically pertaining to African Americans. I don't know what the hell Harris Faulkner was talking about. Oh, tell us about why you picked J.D. Vance. And Donald Trump sits there and then gives us a whole damn rundown of his resume. But that was a complete waste of our time. It was a debacle. And also, even how the format was set up, had them sitting in these plush chairs. No, it should have had his ass standing at a podium, them at a table, drilling him with questions. Also, NABJ said, oh, we're going to have real-time fact-checking. Not on stage. So what the hell was that about? There was absolutely nothing about this so-called discussion that was worthy to be held here. Nothing. What do we gain from it? Nothing. He showed exactly who he is, a total asshole who says things about black people that are shameful, pathetic, and despicable. Donald Trump showed us exactly who he was. But NABJ embarrassed themselves when it came to the ground rules that were taking place. Well, they established it was not a strong panel other than Rachel Scott. How the format made no sense whatsoever. And let me tell you something right here. The moment Donald Trump insulted Rachel Scott, somebody in leadership of NABJ should have stood up and said, wait a minute. You have consistently insulted black female journalists, including April Ryan, including Yamiche Alcindor, who was sitting there on the second row there. You are not going to do that. We're going to have a respectful conversation, but you are not going to be insulting our members. And nobody did that. They allowed those three sisters to sit up there defenseless against the constant barrage of attacks from Donald Trump, calling ABC News fake news. That's why he also shouldn't have been invited, because that's what he does, talking about fake news. This man has had a war against media because he cannot stand being fact-checked. He cannot stand being held accountable. And so what you heard was him repeatedly, over and over and over and over and over again, lie in that session today. Okay? That was no false pretenses. It wasn't, oh, if she comes, you come. That was never the case, and he knows it. So he lied about that. Now, I was told that the audio company, that when he got there, they said audio went out. I don't know what the hell this, Encore, I don't know what the hell that company was about. I don't know what the hell they were doing, because guess what? We were sitting in there. You can hear the voice of God person, announcer. You can hear the music playing. So that made no sense whatsoever. And so he tried to sit here and try to portray black people as being, color folk, color time, being late. That's what he actually tried to do. And so it made no sense whatsoever. NABJ made us look weak. People all around the country and the world are talking about this here. Very few people are defending what actually took place. And again, if you out there and you black and you even think about voting for Donald Trump after what he did there, it was lies. He sat there, talked about HBCU funding. Oh, they were going broke. I guarantee their funding. That was an absolute lie. Undoubtedly a 100% lie. Oh, these immigrants, they're taking your black jobs. Lie. The serial liar showed us exactly who he is. I think you got some other clips. Y'all can play the next clip. Let's see what else this fool had to say.
Divided along.
People from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr. President,
they're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened.
Again, I can't even play. I can't even assault the eardrums and the brain cells of the folks who are watching and listening any longer. Again, what you're hearing right there is an absolute, complete, undoubtedly liar. 50, 60, 70 million. That is what he does. And this is why you do not platform serial liars, because they are going to lie. This is why you have to fact check on stage to his face in real time. This is why you have to shut him down. And listen, again, Rachel handled herself. This is also why I made clear, you need a black man on that stage. I was critical that you did not have a black male journalist. Let me be real clear. If they had three black men and no sisters, the sister would be upset, and I would be standing right there with them saying there should be a sister on this doggone stage. But what I'm trying to explain to folks is that you saw evil on display. You saw how this man will say whatever, who will insult people. He has no decency. He has no morals. He has no values. He has no integrity. Even his own nephew has talked about his racism. Even his own sister has talked about the kind of person that he is. I want to bring in our panel right now, and I'm sure they can't wait to say something. Robert Patillo, host, People, Passion, Politics, 1380 WAOK, out of Atlanta. Monique Presley, legal analyst, host, Make Sense with Monique Presley. Joy Chaney, founder of JOI Strategies. Glad to have all three of you on the panel. We don't have Monique yet, so let me know, y'all, when she's there. Robert, your assessment of that crap that we witnessed today here in Chicago.
Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I think it could have been a constructive argument. It could have been something where we actually got a contrast between both parties and what the positions were for the African-American community. What we got was what we saw, which is the standard Trump lies, obfuscations, filibustering, running out the clock when there are tough questions that he doesn't want to answer, and there was very little information portrayed. I still have no idea what President Trump's policy is on health care. I don't know what President Trump's policy is on education. I don't know what his policy is on criminal justice reform or infrastructure. I don't know what his policy is on Social Security or Medicare or any entitlement programs. And the fact that we can't get these fundamental questions answered is why you cannot platform President Trump unless it's in such a way that you can Trump-proof the event. Think about the rules that President Biden had to put in place just to try to contain Trump during the first debate. The saying that you have to have a timer, saying that you have to turn off his microphone, that you have to be able to fact check him in real time. These are things that you have to do because otherwise you see he is a master at turning this into a 1990s Howard Stern radio interview, changing the topic and running out the clock because he understands he does not have to and does not have any intention to actually answering big questions. But from the Trump side of things, this was an opportunity for him to really portray what should attract African Americans to his campaign. We've seen a recent polling that even with the switch to Kamala Harris, that Kamala Harris is getting about 70% black votes in the recent CNN poll compared to over 90% that President Biden got in 2020. As he introduces herself to the country, does more rallies that she did in Atlanta yesterday, that will continue to increase. But this was President Trump's opportunity to really portray to the African-American community nationwide that he is going to need to carry states like Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. He's going to need the black vote to help push him over the line there. He made no progress in actually saying what his policies will be for those communities and how electing him again will not take us back to a place where many African Americans were uncomfortable at in 2020 and in the first term of his administration. He did nothing to dissuade the concerns people have about Project 2025, which very much aims to overturning every piece of progress we made during the civil rights movement in the 1960s until today. So I think it was overall a failed event, but I do hope that there will be other opportunities in the next 100 days for President Trump to address the African-American community, present his record, and actually answer the hard questions. It just can't be thrown together in a couple of days. It can't be in that type of format, as you said. You have to Trump-proof it, but I think we do need to hear his answer to what he means and what he intends to do for the black community.
But he's not going to answer those questions, Joy. We know exactly what the hell's going on here. And so what his whole job there was to filibuster. He just ran roughshod over every single question. When they tried to push, when they tried to push back, and really, really it was Rachel who was the only one who was really trying to push back. Harris, I don't know what the hell she was doing. And so it really was an abomination. Is Joy there? Joy's up there. Let's go to Monique.
Yeah, listen, it's not normal time.
Okay, Joy, go right ahead.
Can you hear me? Donald Trump isn't normal.
Yep, go right ahead.
And I think I can hear you, but I don't. Can you hear me?
We hear you. Go ahead.
Joy, right. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Donald Trump is not normal. He is just a complete aberration. He is not someone that you can say, I'm going to have this guy on. He's going to share his policies. He's going to move forward. It's not that. And I think all of our groups, including some of the groups that I advise, we learned a lot today. You cannot simply have him on. Robert is absolutely right. You can't simply have him on, and you may not be able to have him on at all because he doesn't want to abide by rules that are about showing who he is as a candidate and what he would bring to the table. Or maybe that is what he's showing. He's a fool. He's engaged in insult. He's engaged in playing and circus making. This was not about bringing on Black voters. This was about ginning up what he perceives to be is a white male racist base. That's what this is. He was performing for them, throwing things at the wall, seeing what might stick, right? I mean, it's almost like improvisational performance art. And we have to put it in the proper context. You can't be serious when you're dealing with a clown. Sometimes you have to say, you know what, sir? Either you live by these rules so that we can actually have a real discussion, or you don't show up at all.
Or you don't invite him because you know what he is going to do. Guys, Monique said her signal is freezing. We're trying to actually get her back on. There was a question that was asked regarding Sonia Massey. And my God, ask the question. Kadia Gobas with Semaphore. And again, I mean, I don't know who she is. You know what? I'm sorry. Somebody has to say it. Kadia Goba should not have been on that stage. So here was a Sonia Massey question.
I'm sorry?
It's very clear. I hear you.
Okay. So Sonia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed Black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact...
Right there. So pause. Okay, so here's why I was kicked off by listening to that. First of all, Sonia Massey, unarmed woman, in her home, she shot. No, she was shot and killed. She was shot in the face by the officer as she was boiling a pot of hot water. She says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Then he shot and killed. Well, she didn't say how the sheriff has apologized. Then she says, well, you said immunity. No, he said 100% immunity for all police officers so they can do their job. Here's the other thing which I don't understand, NABJ. Why in the hell are you not rolling clips? Why are you not saying, this is what you said, play the video? I mean, I don't understand that. We produce television every single day. How about you actually produce this questioning? So, anyway, play his pathetic answer.
But I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would...
They're going to be charging the officer. I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 100...
Stop the video. Classic. Guys, when I say stop it, you should have stopped it. Here's the deal. That's classic Trump. It's classic Trump. Pivot. Don't want to actually answer the question. That's where you say, no, 1 second. Well, it depends upon the circumstances. Here were the circumstances. She felt that was an intruder. She called the cops. She ends up dead. The cop who shot her didn't turn his body camera on. His partner did. That's when you ask the question and you fill in the details. You do not allow somebody to just ramble and ramble and ramble. And then what does he do? He then shifts the conversation. Well, let's talk about Chicago. This happened over July weekend. They had more than 100 shootings. Now, if he goes there, then you say, okay, we'll talk about Chicago shootings. Let's talk about gun control. Let's talk about how most of the guns in Chicago come from across the border in Indiana, where your former VP, the one you love to have killed, was the governor there. See, you do not let him out of the box. That's what you do not do. That's exactly what we saw happen. And so here's more of his rambling answer.
117 shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We need to have our police officers have the respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
So, can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question? Who would make those
Well, right now, for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying if I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job maybe with crime, or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine an innocent mistake?
You go after somebody, and it's a very close call, and it's very dangerous. And you know, they have the policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing, because sometimes you have less than a second to make a life and death decision, and sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
So I want to follow up really quickly. I find it interesting because you do talk about reining in prosecutors, especially when it comes to prosecutors that are prosecuting you. Why doesn't that skepticism apply to law enforcement?
Well, I've been prosecuted because I'm a political opponent of...
Right there. Stop right there. Oh, my God. Stop right there. That man just sat there and said, well, things happen in a split second. How does nobody say, sir, but she's dead? Sonia Massey is dead. And then what you then do is recount the other black people who are dead. You press the point and say, that split second determines life or death. But you want to give them immunity. Guess what you didn't hear? You didn't hear anybody say, because when you were president, you had Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr who says we're going to pull back on consent decrees because it's going to hurt the morale of cops. Then you got somebody has to say, I'm sorry, there was only one police patterns and practices investigation that took place in your 4 years. Under Biden-Harris, it's 12. You heard none of that. You heard none of the pressing. They allowed this man to ramble. And I swear, Monique, if we were in a courtroom, somebody would object and the judge would turn to the witness and say, I need you to answer the question.
Yes, but that wouldn't have worked here either. I think the point, though I understand that better journalists could have done a better job, and I agree with you, hats off to Rachel Scott for doing a yeoman's job today. And then there, the young woman in the middle was inexperienced, and perhaps they selected her to represent in that manner. And then there's Harris. But he was going to lie no matter how much he was pressed. The only issue really is whether the journalist who is speaking spoke with more facts or not. The bigger issue for me is it shouldn't have happened. It was inappropriate. It was not the right forum. It was bad decision-making on the part of the organization to bring the rapist into the house, invited to sit at the table to rape us again. And that's what it looked like to me. That was my experience and that of so many others who have been speaking with about it. That's not the way we should run our households. NABJ is not a media outlet. And so what was done could have been done if these journalists wanted to interview this man and let him lie kind of on their own time, their own dime, not at the convention, then it's their obligation to try to get answers out of him. But I don't think that it would have mattered. I think that any good journalist would still be stuck with the first question because he was never going to answer. Well,
a person won't answer if you allow them to just ramble and go on and on and on. And that to me, where I'm sitting there in the front row. So just so y'all know, when y'all heard Trump reference, some guy up here, he was talking about me. Because yes, I was literally saying that's a lie. That's a lie. You lying. And so the NABJ folks were like, hey, Roland, calm down. Security going to remove. I said, security going to remove who? I said, okay, let's see that happen. And so then you had some little punk who used to be a little racist little punk, used to be the executive producer of Tucker Carlson. He had a little camera crew. So all of a sudden, they were inside of the gate. And so homeboy fixes his camera on me. And y'all know I'm real black. I leaned in and said, you make sure you got this in focus. And so that's why the video y'all see going around where this dude came up to me, was trying to challenge me. That was his little camera and his little punk. And so then he first he touched me. I said, man, don't you ever touch me again. And so then he said, well, I want to shake your hand. I said, man, I'm not shaking your damn hand. I don't want to. Yeah, that's the little punk right there. And so he was trying to question, how'd you even have a seat on the front row? I said, first of all, who the hell you think you are? I said, let me be real clear with you. I said, I'm a life member. I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm a 3-time board member. I said, I'm a journalist of the year. I said, this is my 35th year in NABJ. I said, man, I don't want to hear crap from you. See, let me explain something to y'all. Now, y'all can go on social media. Y'all can see that clip. But see, here's what you don't give an inch to these thugs. You don't give an inch to, and I made it clear to him, because his cameraman was talking trash. I said, you might want to be quiet, or I'll have you removed. You can't have me removed. I said, no, you are our guest. Let me be real clear. We can throw your ass out of here. See, Robert, here's the deal. See, they think, these little conservative punks think, they think that you got some we can meet black folks. I'm like, no, y'all talking to the wrong one. I said, trust me, if his ass had touched me again, he was going to get arrested for assault. See, I'm not going to back down from these punks and these trolls who want to sit here and think that they're going to sit here and attack our black female journalists and think ain't no black men in the room to stand up for them. I'm like, y'all got another thing coming.
And Roland, so this is part of the issue that we have with siloed media and the kind of siloed country that we live in. There's an entire portion of this country that if all you consume is conservative talk radio, conservative bloggers, conservative podcasts, conservative news media, you go to Trump rallies and those sorts of things, they legitimately believe that like a third of that room were going to be pro-Trump supporters. They legitimately believe that after Trump's mugshot and almost assassination, and you have Amber Rose at the conference, and you got 50 Cent playing, they really thought that there was like a groundswell of support and love that Donald Trump was going to walk into. And they also, because they don't have any black friends and they don't consume anything black that is not filtered through a whitewashed filter, they think that all the black folks they encounter are going to be, Tim Scott and Aaron Donald. That as soon as you say something to them, you're going to, I guess they thought you're going to pull out a banjo or something and start singing the blues to them. But that's just, when you have that portion of America that views things in that nature, it becomes almost impossible to have policy-related discussions. And this is what has happened to our political system, where there's no discussion about actual political issues that are going to be impacting us. I would have loved to hear one of the journalists say, have President Trump's first response to Israel carrying out an assassination on foreign soil that may implicate the U.S. and us moving our Navy into that area. I think that's a question that needs to be answered from not just a local and a black community question, but from the international community question. And when our entire politics devolves into this kind of gotcha, he said, she said, tabloid sort of internet troll form of politics where you have these weird incels like Charlie Kirk and the Talking Point USA people who are more interested in owning the libs than actually doing anything. It is not a way that you choose a president. It's not a way that you run a country. It's a dangerous precedent to set because our enemies are watching both domestically and abroad. And when they see this form of chaos, they see an opportunity to strike. And I think it's important to understand this should not have happened in this way. You do not invite a tiger to dinner. You do not have a question and answer with Trump that you're not ready for. And I, quite frankly, think the first question would be, Donald Trump, you are a rapist. So can you explain to us why the women of this country should vote for you as a rapist? The 27 women have accused you of sexual assault. What would you say to female voters to calm them as to why you, as a rapist and someone accused of sexual assault, should be here? There are a lot harder questions that could have been asked, but I think that when you have a situation with Trump, it doesn't matter what the question is because he's not going to answer. So you have to put everything into the question almost like a cross-examination, and you have to box it in where only he can answer yes or no.
Yeah, and versus sitting here just ramble, which is what he does because he's real good at it. All right, y'all. Shelley Wynter, conservative talk show host out of Atlanta. He joins us right now. Shelley, your boy looked like a damn fool embarrassing himself. Oh, Kamala Harris, when did she become black? When I met her, she was Indian. And then he starts off immediately insulting Rachel Scott of ABC, who was literally repeating back to him words, his own words. And so do you defend Donald Trump's actions today in Chicago?
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure being on here. I appreciate the invitation. But look at how you started the question. You see what I'm saying? This whole day is broken down into exactly how you just started the question. Your boy looked like a damn fool today. Oh, okay, so now where do I go from there? And then you asked me if I'm defending him. Defending what part of a hour?
No. Actually, Shelley, I was very specific, and that is, not Shelley. I was very specific when I said he opened up with Shelley. Hold on, Shelley. Yes. He opened up with a direct attack on Rachel Scott. Shelley, I will finish the question. You can answer. He opened up with a direct attack on Rachel Scott in terms of where she repeated words that he had actually said, and then the most horrible question: how you just mistreat me, and you fake news. You're at ABC. Not wanting to answer the question, he turned it into a personal attack on Rachel Scott. Is that how somebody, a commander-in-chief, should behave?
I don't know if it's a way to behave when you're walking into a hostile, willingly, obviously, into a hostile situation, and you're getting the first question.
Her question was hostile?
Well, yeah. If you
how was it hostile?
I'll tell you, because every single
how was it hostile?
Every single person, everything that she asked him was something he was responding to attacks from others. For instance, she said, you attacked 3 African-American female journalists. Well, yeah, he did. He also attacked Jim Acosta. He also attacked Chris Cuomo. He also attacked every reporter who came at him, which is why he came up with the term fake news. Look, if we want to play this game, like Robert said, I thought Harris Faulkner is not getting any credit because she actually asked the best questions, which were, what are you going to do on your first day? Why are you here? What are the policies you want to do for black people?
Actually, her questions were trash. No, actually, her questions were trash. Harris Faulkner should have never been on that. No. Harris Faulkner should have never been on that panel. Harris Faulkner should never be on the panel, or anybody from Fox News, after Fox News settled for $787 million a lawsuit where they advanced Donald Trump's lies for the 2020 election. They lost their credibility and integrity on that. And she should have not been on that stage.
Double CNN and 3 times MSNBC. You're in this business. No. You know what ratings.
I'm sorry. Were they sued?
It doesn't matter.
No. Did Fox News advance lies about the 2020 election? Yes or no?
Did CNN advance lies for 2020 election?
No.
CNN
this is real basic. Shelley, this is what makes no sense. Shelley, what's so silly is you can't even win this argument because Rupert Murdoch had to agree to a $787 million settlement because they knowingly advanced lies Donald Trump's lies, even though they know it was false.
They knowingly advanced Tucker Carlson's lies, which is why he got fired. So now let's move back to Harris Faulkner.
No, Shelley. See, Shelley, this is the problem. No, Shelley, it wasn't. First of all, Shelley, factually, you're wrong. First of all, Tucker Carlson was rarely even mentioned in the depositions. Lou Dobbs, Maria Bartiromo, and a host of others, Laura Ingraham and others. This was a widespread. No, Shelley, we don't lie on this show. Shelley, we don't lie on this show. It was known from the top to bottom. Rupert Murdoch, Suzanne Scott, the CEO. Shelley, hold on. Numerous hosts. Numerous reporters, numerous producers, this was a system-wide massive lie, and that's what they did. So how can you say it was just Tucker?
Was Harris Faulkner one? Simple question. No. So let's now go back to why you have me on here. Harris Faulkner
is with a network. Well, first of all, having you on the Trump debacle in NABJ actually changed it. Let me ask you this next question: Do you find it strange that Donald Trump would talk about how, well, I thought she was Indian and now she's claiming she's black? Do you find that to be offensive to African Americans, suggesting that this woman, who's black as well as Indian, where he says, oh, she's now claiming to be black?
I wouldn't have advised. So let me answer that question, and please give me time to answer it. I
asked the question. Go get your answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't like the answer. I wouldn't have advised him to answer that, but I do understand the political attack in the answer, because what he's doing is he's talking to, because we know there are a number of what I call Otto's people, Otto's type, for lack of a better word. There are a number of African Americans who don't believe she's authentically black. So he's talking to that issue, and he's also playing up the kind of quote unquote, is she phony? Is she playing a game? Is she black when she needs to be, something else when she doesn't need to be, married to a white guy? All of those things, that answer. Now, I wouldn't have advised him to answer that way, because I think it would have been, if you call into question too many of things that you've already been attacked on. So I would never have advised it. But politically, and this is all politics, politically, it plays well to that black audience that you're picking up who don't trust her or like her. And we do know, if you step outside your bourgeois boule crew, you know people, working class African Americans, don't trust her and they don't like her. So now that does play well politically. I wouldn't have advised it. Not at all. I would.
Actually, Shelley. Shelley, I dare say, you can talk about your bourgeois, whatever the heck. I guarantee you, I spend more time around working class black folk, regular black folk, than you could even think about. So that little cute comment, Shelley, that little cute little comment you made there is utterly irrelevant to me. Let me also ask you this here. Shelley, I'm asking you this here. Shelley, first, Shelley, I'm gonna ask you another question. When Donald Trump sat there and began to lie about abortions in the 9th month, that's a lie. That was a flat-out lie. Why does he keep lying about that?
Because there are a number of people on the Republican side who are taking, I forgot the Virginia governor's candidate. He was a Virginia governor, ran for election again and lost. Terry, I forgot his last name, who had proposed that.
His name is Terry McAuliffe. But it's a lie. It's a lie, and he keeps saying it. So why does he keep advancing a lie?
Well, because there are people who have talked about abortion, late-term abortion. Now, what Republicans are doing is playing the same game that you play.
Is late-term abortion 9th month?
Late-term abortion.
Actually, I don't play games.
You do.
I don't play games. I deal in facts.
There are.
No, I'm not. I'm repeating what he said. You're calling it a game. It's not a game to me. This is real life.
And I'm answering the question. The question is that there are Democrats who want late-term abortions. Republicans take that and to mean 8th, 9th month abortions. I don't agree.
But they're lying. They're lying.
What do you mean they're lying? There are Democrats who want late-term abortions. They are. They are.
Okay. What I'm saying is.
Robert Patillo's here in Georgia. Stacey Abrams wanted late-term abortions. Listen, man, about the lies, you know, PolitiFact checked all the lies. Most of the lies, he said that Kamala Harris didn't pass the bar exam. She didn't her first time. Millions of people don't pass the first time. Millions of great lawyers didn't pass the first 2 or 3 times. That is no harbinger of whether you're smart or not. So I didn't agree with that attack either. But
so let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question.
I get
this question, Shelley. Why does I got to ask you, why does Donald Trump keep lying about HBCUs? Today, he talked about how they were going broke, how I gave them a lifeline. He's lying. According to Dr. Walter Kimbrough, who was a 3-time HBCU president, Donald Trump, in 3 consecutive budgets, actually cut HBCU funding. The program Donald Trump cited, his own budget zeroed that program out. It was Congresswoman Alma Adams of North Carolina who actually, I'm not done. It was, it was Congresswoman Alma Adams who put it back in the budget. He's lying. And this is.
I heard you say it. I've heard you say it on your show, so you don't have to go through it again. I heard you say it to the guy that you just showed the video of. I saw the video.
So why does he keep lying?
He's not lying because it's semantics, like I said.
He is lying.
Issue of issues.
Hold up, Shelley, I'm confused. Shelley, I'm confused. Shelley, I'm confused. If Trump's budget zeroes the program out, meaning they want to cut the program, and it requires.
He zeroes it out from the Department of, see, this is what I'm saying, it's semantics. You zero out from under the Department of Education and move it to the White House, and $250 million, which you know went to, under the Futures Act, to HBCUs. Yes, $255 million. See, you're playing semantics.
I'm sorry, Shelley, what you just said is factually wrong. The program that you're speaking of, no, Shelley, let me help you with facts. The program you're speaking of is $250 million. Only $90 million of that went to HBCUs. The other $160 million went to Hispanic serving institutions. So he's even lying about the number.
Right. So listen, so you said he zeroed it out. So let's go back to that. So now let me finish answering your question, because that $90 million ain't zeroing it out. So let me answer your question. So there's the semantics. Issuesofhighereducation.com. They talked about this, and anybody can Google it listening to me right now, and you'll see the HBCU presidents all said that Donald Trump was good. There was a yes and a no. He was good, and there was some areas where he's taking credit for things that were bipartisan. My answer to that is, well, doesn't every politician take credit for the work of what they sign? Presidents take credit for what they sign into office. Every congressman that voted on the Futures Act, bipartisan, Republican and Democrat, to their constituents and said, I got through the Futures Act. Everyone does it. That's politics. But you said he zeroed it out.
So in your world, Shelley, Ronald Reagan could take credit for signing the bill to make Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday a national holiday, even though he opposed it the entire time. But because he signed it, he's going to take credit. Here's the bottom line. Under Biden-Harris, HBCUs have received more money than they ever. I'm not done. Under Biden-Harris, HBCUs have received more money than they ever have in American history. What Donald Trump is saying is a lie. Donald Trump did not provide. He did not provide a guaranteed lifeline to HBCUs. He did not. He's talking about a program that was $250 million, and they provided billions. Come on, Doc.
So by Jerron Case is the man you should go to and ask him what Shelley, I've talked to Jerron, and guess what? The fact of the matter is this here. If you had to compare Trump, Pence, Biden, Harris, it's not even comparison who has helped HBCUs more. Here's the last question I have for you, and I really hope you can answer this question. Before Trump left the White House, we had to be forced out, I sent an email to the White House saying, I need y'all to provide the data of what has been the impact on empowerment zones. No one has presented that.
I had a black pastor from Baltimore who was with Trump and with the announcement. 6 months. Hold up, Shelley. I'm gonna let you answer it. 6 months later, that brother came on my show and he said, "This has been a failure." Here's the question I have for you: where is the data that shows the amount of money invested from empowerment zones, how many black people started businesses or got?
What happened? What happened? Oh, man. What happened?
No problem. All right, Shelley, so Roland had a couple technical difficulties. The question he was asking was about the actual impact of these opportunity zones that have been achieved. So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Real quick, just what is the impact of those opportunities we have to hop on?
So the data, I've been looking for the data as well, Robert, and I'll be totally honest with you. I can't find the data either, and I don't think many people can. One of the problems that I think exists is that opportunity zones came along, I think the second latter part of the second or into the third year of Donald Trump's term. And I think it was not well promoted. I think there were a lot of attacks on it from the press, from the media, from Democrats, and I think that's where it got lost. But I've been asking the same question. The program is there, but I can't find out, many of us can't find out how to get in touch with it. We have people in Atlanta who worked on it. I remember there was a meeting, Coca-Cola, I believe, where a bunch of black businessmen came. They heard a presentation about it. They heard about different areas like Campbellton Road that was going to be under that opportunity zone process. So I have the same question, to be quite honest with you. But the program exists. Now, how effective has it been? I don't know. But I can name hundreds of programs that have been implemented by government that don't work or we don't have any data on.
But Shelley, but here's my whole deal, Shelley. When somebody comes in front of me and touts a program, how great it's been for black people, here's the deal, though. I want to see the data. Now, if the program is as great as they are describing, I will say it, but there's no data to back up the assertion.
My brother, that's a fair attack. That's a fair attack. I'll give you that one fair attack throughout the whole night. I will tell you, though.
First of all, you don't have to give it to me because I got 4 or 5, but go ahead. Here, make your final comment. Make your final comment before I got to go to break.
My final comment is this. I think that it was bold move for him to go to the NABJ. I don't agree with the other panelists who say he shouldn't have been there, he shouldn't have been invited, because you had pointed out yesterday that he had been invited since 2016. He just never went. He decided to go now because it's a good thing to do, right? I don't think that anybody should say he shouldn't have been there. They shouldn't have invited him. This is a convention full of journalists who are supposed to ask questions. What I will say is I disagree with you and Robert when you say you would have, because you guys were setting up what would have been a debate with Donald Trump, not a question and answer, which is what it was designed to be. And so I think it was a good thing that he went. I think she is now black. I thought that was mishandled from the very beginning. I would have stayed on the young lady, Miss Scott, not knowing the definition of DEI. I would have pushed her there. I would have kept on that.
She knew it.
Of course she did it, but she didn't answer it. So I would have kept on that. What I'm saying is, when you're in these situations and you're in a hostile environment, and clearly at least one, the middle young lady was trying to play it fair, and Harris was trying to play it fair. What you guys wanted was a debate with Donald Trump, and I don't think that would have been bad. If
no, not true. Not true.
Debating.
No, it's not true. No, I would say me and Robert wouldn't want to debate. We would actually want him to answer the question. Shelley, we would want him to answer the questions asked. And the bottom line is, what he did was he filibustered, he moved around, and he didn't do it. I know you got to do your radio show. I got to go to a break. We'll have you back. Shelley Wynter, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Folks, we right back on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Sun Network. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
On a next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie. Think about for a moment some of those icky behaviors that you display every now and then. Are you a petty Betty or a crabby Kathy? Where do those less than attractive traits come from? We all have them. And more importantly, how do we get rid of them to make certain that they don't infect other people?
Pettiness is something that we all carry. It's just make sure that you carry it well and you don't use it to intentionally hurt.
On the next A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie on Black Star Network.
Me, Sherry Shepard, and you know what you're watching, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Well, of course, you had lots of reaction from today. Karine Jean-Pierre, White House press secretary, had this to say from the podium after the debacle, the Donald Trump debacle at NABJ in Chicago.
Who is in this position that is standing before you at this podium behind this lectern. What he just said, what you just read out to me, is repulsive, it's insulting, and, you know, no one has any right to tell someone who they are, how they identify. That is no one's right. It is someone's own decisions. It is, I'll add this. Only she can speak to her experience. Only she can speak to what it's like. She's the only person that can do that. And I think it's insulting for anybody. It doesn't matter if it's a former leader, a former president. It is insulting. And we have to put, she is the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. We have to put some respect on her name, period.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Go ahead, John, all the way in the back.
All right, folks. The Harris campaign certainly had a lot to say about this in terms of the statement they released. And so I really thought it was very strong. I'm going to pull up in a second. Let me pull up Monique, Joy, and Robert. So I'm going to read this in a second. But I tell you what, Monique, their rapid response was really important because they framed it in terms of exactly how Donald Trump behaves, how he acts. They talked about how rude he was, how he is constantly disrespectful to journalists and black journalists. And so they were hitting him hard in their response back.
Yeah, because he's an asshole. That's why. And he shouldn't have been allowed to be an asshole in our home, where our sisters are supposed to be safe. And I know that they are grown women and that they agreed to do that particular assignment. And I'm not even saying, though I agree with you, Roland, that it should have been men and women. I don't think it should have been necessary for a man to have to step up to protect a black woman in this space from this crotchety, amoral, felon, old-ass man. I mean, I don't think that should have been necessary. I think that the organization should have been protective. And if they were going to do something like that, it shouldn't have happened in the format that it was in. And so now, you know, when with black women got to make a statement, White House got to make a statement, Kamala HQ got to make a statement, Karine got to make a statement. We got to talk about it for an hour. Unforced error, NABJ, unforced error about a known idiot. He did exactly what we said he was going to do. And I see people Even white people who mean to be allies, who were saying, look until the end. He made an idiot of himself. This is hilarious. Nothing about it is funny. To me, I would have been ready to fight. I'm glad I wasn't there, because for real, you want to see the other side of this Black woman? Call my sister out of her name. Interrupt when one of my other sisters is trying to talk. Try to make delegitimate my American-born vice president the same way you did with the first Black president. None of that is funny to me. Not one damn bit. And so even the people who are laughing, what I said on Twitter is, maybe this is where our coming together can be of help. Because when my race and sex is being disrespected, I do not find that humorous. We as Black women have been beaten up too much in these centuries in this country for you to laugh at that shit like it's some kind of joke. And so, no, I don't see a remedy here. I understand everything everybody is saying about ways it could have been done better, but I return back to my original comment. It should not have happened. I was made to feel unsafe in places where we're supposed to be safe. And that is not the way it's supposed to go. And forgive my language for all of y'all who expect me to be elder.
And Joy, first of all, you ain't got to forget language. Joy, the point there about, we talk about safe spaces. This is what I have to keep reminding a bunch of these folks at NABJ this. The role of journalists is our job. Yet when we are here, we are members of an organization. What we do as members of an organization is different than what we do in our jobs. So, for instance, NABJ takes funds from different entities. Someone can say, well, as journalists, we shouldn't be doing that. No, we are an organization. I literally had to explain to our board members this. We released a statement. We were working on this statement. And they wanted to put the reaction from the company in the statement. I said, y'all, stop. This ain't no story. This is a statement. So the problem is, sometimes we have folk in NABJ who are trying to act like all decisions you make, you're making as that of a journalist. Yet when I was on the board of NABJ, I was operating as an officer. In fact, so my voting can't be based upon how I personally benefit. It's how we gave a thumbs down award to CNN, MSNBC, and all the networks for not hiring a single Black show host. The board had to vote. So people came to me and they said, Roland, you shouldn't vote on this because you're one of the folks in line to get a show on CNN. And I said, when I spoke to the board, I said, when I chose to run for the office, I chose to represent the interest of NABJ and its members. I cannot make a vote sitting on the, and in fact, we had one person, I saw her earlier. She got mad at me. How dare you vote against your company? I told her ass, I said, when I'm sitting in this room, I ain't sitting here with CNN. I'm not sitting in here with TV One. I'm sitting here for NABJ. And I said, I have to vote how I believe in the best interest of our organization, not my personal interest. And that's the mistake I told a bunch of people that today. That when we control who we invited in. We controlled the conversation. He doesn't get to dictate to us by saying, well, I'm a public figure, you're a journalist. No, here we are members of NABJ. That is separate from what our daily jobs are.
Facts. I think that is something that's called integrity and understanding what your role is. Many of us are part of Greek letter organizations, and if you've ever brought in people, you know there are family members of yours that you love, you would never invite in. Why? Because you have a different responsibility when you're in the org. NABJ should have been thinking about themselves as an organization who gave their platform to a clown to perform for his base. And that was not a good use of NABJ's time. But then once they decided to have him, they had him, let's move on. Once they had him on there, they should have been prepared to have him on there and should have been prepared to make him focus on the facts and the public policy and the things that would help people make a decision about whether he's right for the country if they were having him on. But now let's go to Donald Trump, because all is not lost. And I love that that's what the Harris campaign made clearer today. This is who he is. He has reminded us yet again who he is. He does not care about Black people. We are but a means to an end to actually inspire crazy white people. That's who he's really trying to target. So we've got to make a choice. If you are a Black person, like our former guest on the show, who's looking at him, this is not someone who cares about you. He is making a fool of you. You are clearly lost. This is not someone who wants to see you do well. This is someone who is using you as a tool to try to gain votes from people who do not value or respect you. So Donald Trump has reminded us again, much like when he did his speech at the convention, of who he is. So, while I agree it's not funny, although I did laugh, because I think that his outbursts and his acting and the fact that he has to be so performative is to try to inspire his base, which is very demoralized right now because they see Democrats being so energized. And it's a sign that their internal polling is telling them something else, that they need to be desperate. So in some respects, I laugh because I understand politics and I understand what this is about. But you're right, it was insulting and it was offensive, and it's a reminder of how far we have to go. But when you have Donald Trump on, it's something you have to expect. There is no safe space with him. If you have him, you know what, you have to be prepared for it. And they were not today.
Yeah. Robert, I want to read, this is the statement the Harris for President campaign release. It says, statement on Donald Trump showing exactly who he is at NABJ. The hostility Donald Trump showed on stage today is the same hostility he has shown throughout his life, throughout his term in office, and throughout his campaign for president as he seeks to regain power and inflict his harmful Project 2025 agenda on the American people. Trump lobbed personal attacks and insults at Black journalists the same way he did throughout his presidency, while he failed Black families and left the entire country digging out of the ditch he left us in. Donald Trump has already proven he cannot unite America, so he attempts to divide us. Today's tirade is simply a taste of the chaos and division that has been a hallmark of Trump's MAGA rallies this entire campaign. It's also exactly what the American people will see from across the debate stage as Vice President Harris offers a vision of opportunity and freedom for all Americans. All Donald Trump needs to do is stop playing games and actually show up to the debate on September 10th. Thoughts?
Oh, what a difference 2 weeks can make in American politics. As they say, a day is a year in politics. And this time about 2 weeks ago, President Trump was riding high. He was at the RNC convention. He had just survived an assassination attempt. He was leading in almost every poll. You had Amber Rose and Hulk Hogan, Kid Rock, Dana White, all at the RNC convention. He talked about expanding the base of the party. And the discussions on the Republican side of the aisle weren't about whether or not he would win. It was about how they're going to have an electoral mandate to the point that they could actually institute Project 2025, that they would actually be able to take control of both the House and the Senate. And the Democrats were on defense as to what they were going to do to simply have some levers of control for an eventual, if not inevitable, Trump takeover. Fast forward 2 weeks, President Biden drops out of the race. Couple $100 million get raised, start having calls, including call organized by you, Roland, with hundreds of thousands of people on discussing how they support the Harris campaign. You're going to have these big events coming up, where you have the event in Atlanta, where you have the rollout of the vice president, where you're going to have the Democratic National Convention, where there's no bright light at the end of the tunnel for Trump right now, and you're seeing the desperation happen as he's seeing, he's grasping defeat from the jaws of victory because of hubris, because he thought that he had this thing locked up so he could pick someone like a J.D. Vance because his billionaire buddies told him that's who you need to pick. So he can keep talking about these crazy-ass tirades about sharks and getting electrocuted by batteries and Hannibal Lecter and those sorts of things. But now that there's actual competition up against him, and he sees that he is losing in all these states, and there are no new Trump voters. That is the problem that he runs into. There is no magic lever of support that he can pull into. He has all the poor white people in the country locked up already. They are not swing voters. They're on his side. But now you can't go to Latinos. You can't go to women, of course. And now you're coming to the black community after 4 years in office, 4 years running for president again, and now you're on the campaign trails trying to find a way to ease your way in, and you watched enough to say, well, maybe a couple of them will take me in, and you're realizing that that door is closed also. And the question then becomes from the Trump campaign, where do you pick up more momentum? Where do you pick up new voters? And I don't think there's anywhere. And what you saw from Trump today was a realization that he really may lose this race, that there are no more doors open that he can pick.
That's right.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. When when the vice president said yesterday in Atlanta, say it to my face, black folk, we saw what this fool said to our faces. And again, I don't need to invite crazy into my house for them to leave and go, damn, they crazy. You knew that from the outset. And so that's what you saw. That's what you witnessed. And, Monique, Shelley sitting there talking about, how great of a job Harris did. First of all, how your ass wait to Project 2025 to be your last question, and they were actually giving them the rap sign. See, that little silly, so how did you arrive at picking J.D. Vance? Didn't she say she had the longest interview with him? We didn't need to hear that bull crap on the state of NABJ. So again, I just sat there, and so I don't care. I don't give a damn. I saw her. I ain't speak to her. She walked all by her little 5 people, whatever. Harris Faulkner is a joke. Harris Faulkner is at Fox News. They are in the tank for Donald Trump. They want him to win. And so, therefore, you should not have had anybody on that stage representing Fox News asking that man questions because of the settlement that they paid. And so, I don't care. There's some people out there who say, no, man, I like her. That's cool. That's fine. Listen, I remember I took her because, she needed to be around some black folks. A few years ago, they had the Apollo Spring Gala. So I told her, come on out, roll with me. Went there. And, it was kind of like, ooh, all the black people. It was like, yeah, that's how we actually roll here. But the bottom line is this here, what you heard on that stage, there were no questions focused on black people. There were no questions specific to black agenda. Monique, she didn't ask about maternal health care. She didn't ask about education. She didn't talk about black economic opportunities. She sat there and was like, here you go, Donald. Do what you will with it. It was because the question was so light.
Why did it end at the 35 minutes?
Well, because he claims that, they had him waiting, so it's supposed to be an hour. And so, therefore, they wouldn't extend it. So it's like, hey, y'all on the clock, so that's on you. That's why. But I was told the real deal is, I was told that was the excuse. The Trump folk did not want PolitiFact checking them in real time, but here was the problem. NABJ was doing it on damn Twitter. No, hell no. You need to have their ass on stage with a microphone, and when he finished, say, any lies told? Yes. This. See, you got to check in real time. That's why when Shelley sat there and said something wrong, no, Shelley, you're wrong. I'm fact-checking you right here. I ain't going to come back in 15, 20, 30 minutes. No, you're going to fact-check his ass on the spot.
But
which Jake Tapper and Dana Bash didn't do. Which Jake Tapper and Dana Bash didn't do at June 27th debate. Monique, go ahead.
Yeah, that wasn't a debate. I said that on your show on the night of. I'll just keep saying it. No debate happened. But I think everyone who's on the stage holds responsibility for Project 2025 not being at the front of their presentations, because, I mean, especially in light of what's his name stepping down yesterday and the Trump campaign acting like they're responsible for that and completely disavowing any connection to Project 2025. And we know that that is all fabrication. And so, I mean, that was, again, just another failed opportunity in a circumstance that shouldn't have been happening in the first place. I don't know what else to say about it.
I mean, listen to this trash tweet. Hey, y'all go to Ben Carson. Robert, listen to this trash tweet. No, I'm sorry, Joe, I'm going to go to you then, Robert. Ben Carson, I commend my friend Donald Trump for going into a hostile environment at NABJ today and answering tough questions. What time does VP Harris get to Chicago? That's right. She didn't show up because most of the journalists in that room already do her bidding for her. Ben Carson, you can kiss my ass.
Ben Carson is so sad. And yeah, Ben Carson is sad. I don't want to spend any additional time on him. I don't know, how do we find these black people? They are broken. But with respect to NABJ, again, I actually thought it was fine to have someone from Fox News on, but her fellow journalists should have been able to counter her. That is what I didn't understand. They did not seem to have everyone on there at the level of a Donald Trump. He is a performer, so you have to be ready with a little performance art as well. What Roland is talking about is also saying, if you had a fact checker on that stage, that meets him where he is. If you are not willing to do that, then you should not have him. They were woefully unprepared for this moment. And, you can have someone from Fox News. You can. But you have to have someone who is willing to ask the questions, and you have to talk to her. Hey, are you willing to do this work? And I'm glad you mentioned CNN. We're putting a lot of emphasis on NABJ, but the fact of the matter is, news media outlets, with the exception of this one, don't handle Donald Trump right, because we keep trying to treat him like he is a normal candidate for office. He is not. He is a freak. He is a performer. He is a clown, and he is an expert. Nothing that he did was just random rambling. He's doing it because he's testing out new material. And if we're going to have him on, we have to be ready for it. I'll say it again. We were not ready for it. And for future organizations, think about it. If you are not ready to take him on head to head, it won't matter that you were respectable or whatnot. That's not the game here. Do not let him use your house to disrespect you and all your people in it. You're under no obligation to do that. And we have to grow up and understand what time we are in right now. This is serious business. Donald Trump is trying to undermine our democracy.
Oh, absolutely. And again, though, Robert, when you are dealing with crazy, you know what you're dealing with. You know what you're dealing with. You know you're dealing with sheer stupidity. And so that's what you're dealing with. At one point, when he kept complaining he couldn't hear Harris, and he was like, you're sitting right next to me. Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Oh, just sort of just waved at her. And yeah, it was perfect. Rachel was getting underneath his skin. And that right there, Robert, is the point.
Well,
the way you have to get Robert, hold on, Robert. You have to get under his skin. You have to challenge him. He was angry because she came out the gate locked and loaded.
Well, I find it interesting. Much as Republicans talk about DEI as being a bad thing, Donald Trump brought his own DEI moderator. The only reason Harris Faulkner was there because that's the only black woman he knows. And so you have all this conversation about, well, we have to have a meritocracy. We need the most qualified. You know, one conservative black woman journalist. You knew you were going to a black event, and you did Rolodex. Hey, can I get my own DEI moderator there? Not based on qualifications, not based on merit, but based on, well, she's a black woman, and if I have a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl here answer me questions, I'm gonna look crazy. Look, in reality, this is where kind of law and media merge, and Monique can talk about this also, that you have to treat these interviews, as I said, like a cross-examination. And as Roland said, you need to have the clips queued up and sync to the questions you're asking. So you say, so Rachel asked a question. It is a direct question, a yes or no answer. He tries to obfuscate. There's a big-ass screen above my head. We play him just saying that. Now answer the question to what we just played. Like as Roland said, you have to treat it that way because we are now a decade in to Trumpism. I think people forget that from time to time. This is not a new phenomenon. He's been running for president since 2014, 2015, when he was going on Mourning Joe and pushing his birther conspiracies. We have 10 years of tape on how to play against him. This is like playing against Tom Brady and not knowing he's going to throw a slant across the middle. He's been doing the same damn thing for a decade. How are you not ready for the play that is coming? And I think that when we do the post-mortem on this, and we have many more black conferences coming up between now and the election, I would love for President Trump to attend, but the questions have to be about what your real agenda is for the black community, and be ready to have your feet held to the fire, because they don't do this to anybody else. I'd be damned if anybody shows up at the Jewish convention not talking about either anti-Semitism or support for Israel. You know you're going to have to do it. We let this man slide into the Negro convention, not talk about anything he's going to do for black folks, and then slide out the back door after 30 minutes. I think that's why you're seeing this level of anger.
And Roland, can I add something to what Robert said?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I want to agree with Robert just vociferously, but also add, this is where I think that the professional organizations really should be working together. Just because NABJ is full of journalists, you shouldn't assume that you know how to deal with a criminal or you know how to deal with an agitated, lying witness. But there is training available so that you can do a better job of that. And that is one of the reasons why our vice president is uniquely situated to be able to handle a debate with someone like him. She definitely, as she's been saying in her new speeches, she knows his type. But it also involves a commitment and a decision. Because if he does not answer that first question and you let him get away with not answering that first question, he will not answer any questions. And so you can't have the same time constraints. You can't have the same kind of pity pat. I'll do a question, then you do a question, then you do a question. It has to be that when he rambles, you cut him off and then you say, and back to my question. And you lead him where he didn't want to go on his own. And you stay there until he either says he's unwilling to answer it or he cops a plea and says, well, that's my answer. And then you've got to take the win and say, since you are unwilling to answer my question, I will yield to my colleague. I mean, if you're going to get in the ring with him, you've got to mop the floor. And I don't see that level of preparation happening, and I hope that changes. Robert's here, I'm here, Scott's here, anybody. And I'm not saying there aren't journalists who can do it. I'm just saying cross-examination is different than even regular interviewing or interrogation. These are not even Oprah moments, and she's the queen of interviewing. This is get your ass. And that is a skill set. And I have not seen it yet. And I agree with my two panelists tonight. If you're not ready for that, don't go in there. Don't do that. It's not for you.
Yes. At the very least, they could have answered with, let the record show, he did not answer my question. You can even politely say that. He didn't answer my question. He lied. Our fact checkers are saying this is a half-truth. Whatever it is, being able to just do that in real time, you don't even have, if you don't feel like, hey, this is not a cross-examination, we can't, do the banter. I'm with Monique, but just in case you're not with her, you can at the very least follow up and say, just so you know, that this is what happened here. We're moving on, but he failed to answer this question. We're moving on, but he lied again. You can do that. You can do it respectfully. You don't have to allow him to disrespect you in order to have a fair process. Fair for Donald Trump is holding him accountable.
And that takes preparation. I'm not even saying that that is a fault of these journalists. That is a particular skill, and it takes practice. And I think that there has to be a good deal of preparation. The same way you prepare for debates, I believe the people who are questioning when you're dealing with someone as kind of slippery, and the thing about it is, as I said on your show the night of that other debate, Roland, when you are a pathological liar, you don't have to practice. Anything that comes out of your mouth is what you're saying right then. So he's always ready. But if you don't have no boundaries.
Nope. Don't have boundaries at all. All right, y'all, got to go to a break. We come back. We're going to chat with Isaac Hayes, the third of fan base. Man, NABJ has been getting roasted on social media since Monday, and folks are still commenting after the Donald Trump debacle here in Chicago at NABJ. We'll be right back on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Support the work that we do, folks. We're here. We're live. Ain't nobody paying us to be here, but we bringing y'all the truth. I was not trying to be here. I was going to go back to D.C. because I'm flying to Houston tomorrow for the funeral of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, but I went ahead and decided to stay because, y'all know how to sit in the front row. And you damn right, I was the one in the audience going, he lying, that ain't true, he lying. Yeah, that was me, and I didn't give a damn. Support the work that we do. Join the Bring the Funk fan club. Send your check and money over to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered, PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Latasha, from the A.
And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Y'all. All right, folks, time for Tech Talk. Joining us now is Isaac Hayes III, of course, founder of Fanbase, social media app. And Isaac, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Fanbase, whether it's Instagram, all the social media platforms, all you see is lots of conversation about this Donald Trump debacle at NABJ in Chicago.
Absolutely. This was a mess, but it was a good mess. I think Donald Trump kind of showed his true colors in normal fashion, but in front of a majority black audience, to be the racist and the bigot and the pretty, unsavory character he is.
And listen, from an organizational standpoint, I love the people who say, well, all press is good press. No, that ain't true. NABJ has been getting dragged since Monday night when the announcement came out, and they didn't even release the initial statement. The Trump campaign released their statement, and NABJ's came out afterwards. Hell, they were even slow on that. And so this is where, from an organizational standpoint, how it's a classic case of what you do not do when it comes to social media. They have been failing left and right.
Yeah, so I'm a bit confused as to the miscommunication with legacy journalists such as yourself, with someone like Donald Trump coming and the opportunity for you guys to be able to interview someone of his magnitude. And I feel a lot of people are saying that they were left out. I don't know. I mean, definitely it's been a very controversial week for this conference. But I think that there's an opportunity to grow from it, learn from it, recognize people such as yourself that need an opportunity to have the conversation with Donald Trump. But I thought the women held it down very well for the individual that they were dealing with, and it worked out very, very well, because I think Donald Trump is giving sound bites now for the next week from just this 35-minute interview that was supposed to be 1 hour. And now it's cut down to 35 minutes for all the crazy stuff he was saying, questioning, Vice President Harris's blackness, whether she likes black people, how he's the best president for black people since Abraham Lincoln. So he gave sound bites for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I think when you look at, from an organizational standpoint, you do reputational damage when you make a move and you don't fully think through all of the things that could actually happen, and does it make sense? And again, on Monday, I told NABJ direct, 1, Harris Faulkner should not be on the stage. 2, Semaphore, the sister, should not be on the stage. They're a brand new organization. You need a black male reporter. And again, I made it clear, if they had 3 brothers on the panel and no sisters, I'd be right there with the sister saying, this is BS. And 3, nobody from black-owned media. And so they sat here, and then they announced after the criticism, we're going to be partnering with PolitiFact. No, you should have had all of that stuff laid out and ironed out on the front end. And so it was like they were just sort of just reacting to all the news that kept coming back. That's why they got hit.
Who makes these decisions, though, Roland? Who makes those decisions about who's going to be
To be honest, you have the executive director, Drew Barry. You have President Ken Lemon. And you have other people the president may decide. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with the president, because we are a member-run organization. The executive director works for the executive committee. So the buck stops with President Ken Lemon. And so he has to. And here's the other deal, okay? I talked about what the vice president's folks said that they offered to do virtual. Well, then last night, when I finished my show, I come back. Well, different folks saying, well, no, NABJ said that wasn't true. Okay, if it's not true, put a statement out. So NABJ has not been fully transparent with all of this. And this is what happens when you don't fully understand it and when you don't consider the magnitude of your action.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are going to, transparency in journalism should definitely be there. We're in an age right now where, media is so splintered and it's hard to tell who's telling the truth. And so you would expect or want the NABJ to be upfront and forward about what was available as far as Vice President Harris being able to speak or be virtual or in person or whatever it is. So I think the ball is dropped there. But I'm concerned that with what's going on in media right now, that it's hard to trust media anymore, because I think so much has become about the views and not the facts. And so, Twitter is totally compromised. You can't trust anything that's on Twitter anymore. Most people are sending out snippets, Fox News, Newsmax. You can't trust. They're literally lying. So for views, I'm a little concerned about CNN with some of their coverage of Trump and some of the things that really don't hold him accountable. Even in that first debate with Biden, they really didn't fact check him. They just got to let him go up there and lie. So we need, journalism and journalists and platforms like the NABJ to hold themselves to a higher standard and make sure that the truth is known about everything that's going on.
Questions for the panel. Joy, you first.
Yeah, I mean, so I was interesting. Your take was that, I mean, do you think at the end of the day, this will benefit us because it really shows that Donald Trump, I mean, we already have seen enough, but it just reminds people of who he is?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you can get Donald Trump in front of a microphone, it's an opportunity for him to show his true colors. And something that's extremely important, and I'm noticing this even in this campaign, Hillary Clinton really kind of held her own against Donald Trump, against his attacks. Joe Biden kind of held serve, and he was kind of, wavering there. But this candidate right here in this culture, a black woman, Donald Trump is no match for a black woman on a debate stage, in clapbacks, in conversation, in truth-telling, in accountability. He's not going to be able to overtalk anybody, in culture. Black culture is so much a part of this election, and it's going to really show Donald Trump is a weaker candidate than most people recognize him to be, because he's pretty much a bully to everybody else. He talks over other white candidates, disrespects them, and they don't really check him, and that's not going to happen in our community at all.
I agree. I'm so glad you said that. And frankly, I mean, I also think that that's part of his panic. I think that's why you're hearing the crazy things that we're hearing on Fox News. That I don't know if we're going to cover it tonight, but the guy who said, if you're a man who votes for a woman, you're going to transition into a woman. That's not. And what I love is he said it was from the scientists. So, I mean, they're saying these things, they're panicking. And so in some respects, I'm actually glad to see it, because it shows that their internals are worse than we thought, and they know what's coming.
Absolutely. They're toast. They're making up everything, is as this campaign continues, it will become more racist, more sexist, the vitriol, because that's all they know how to do. And that's their only card that they have. And that really worked well against white candidates, but it's not going to work well against a black candidate, because it's going to really polarize people, and MAGA is going to be isolated in itself as this really racist, fringe, far-right extremist group that's out there, and they're going to lose a lot of support. By no means we should take our foot off their necks, take the foot off the gas. We should keep the pressure applied. We should definitely be focused on this, because I take, Project 2025 very seriously, the Supreme Court, qualified immunity, all these things very seriously. But I think more importantly, we should just, stay focused. But they're definitely exposed. They've only got one hand, and that's the racism card and the bigotry card, and it's only going to go so far.
You got to keep it up, because it's working. I'm with you, brother.
Yeah, sure.
Monique?
Hey there, how are you? I was just wondering if you had any thoughts in recent days on Twitter. Its owner has been getting misinformation, disinformation about Vice President Harris, reposting ads that are manipulated, and just getting more and more overt in the tactics, other than doing what we obviously should be, which is patronizing elsewhere. What is it that you think can be done in order to ensure some level of fairness on a platform that so many are still using?
Well, a couple things. I mean, I think Twitter, as it is known, is not what it was because of Elon Musk purchasing a platform. I truly believe, now this is my prediction, I truly believe that Elon Musk bought this platform to influence the election and thought he was going to be able to do a really good job of doing so. But one thing he did is drove off most of the user base by purchasing the platform. And then now that he's using free speech is no longer a thing. Pete Souza's account got banned today because he posted a photo of Donald Trump's perfectly fine ear that he got shot in by an AR-15. He banned the Dudes for Harris a page for raising $4 million. He's posting misinformation. I believe that after this election is over, Elon will have no interest in Twitter and find some way to get out of it or sell it and be done with it, because the only reason he bought it was to use it as a weapon to try to win the election. The problem that I face, and I keep telling everybody, is we need other platforms, especially the Black community that's on these platforms. Roland posted something about that, and I'm telling everybody right now, even with fan base, I made a commitment to build a Twitter competitor once we reach about $5 million raised in our current round on fan base. And I think, we need platforms to control and own and invest in and really be places where we can share information and they're not compromised by the founder getting in his feelings and blocking people at will. So my commitment to everybody here that does invest in fan base, and we get to about $5 or $6 million by October, I will build a Twitter competitor by the end of the year, and we can absolutely do it at fan base. I want to do it. I love Twitter, and I love what it stands for. I love news. It's really citizen journalism, and that's the core of the platform, and that is totally compromised now that Elon's involved, and it really bothered me. I thought it's totally unfortunate. And so we've been telling people to come to fan base, invest in fan base. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest in fan base. We need to do that. And Roland, I want to do something. I want to do an invest-a-thon. The same way that, and this is something important that I think we should say, the same way that we've been raising money for Kamala Harris, we can raise money for fan base in the same fashion. But these will not be political donations. These will be investments that people will actually own a platform. Imagine collectively the Black community investing in fan base and owning it and then lifting it to $1 billion, $10 billion, $100 billion platform that we own, and then we exit. You have to be thinking like that. There's no way that we should let this opportunity pass. We should definitely be in the mindset of investing and having equity in fan base. So I'm telling people right now, Roland, I'm gonna get at you. I want to do an investor-thon the same way for about an hour. Tell people raise a bunch of money for fan base, but this is actually equity ownership in the platform because we need this because of what Elon is doing and other platforms as well.
All right, tell folks where to go. Isaac, tell her where to go.
Oh, my bad. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. The minimum to invest is $399. You can own equity in this platform. Thank you so very much. Listen, I'm telling everybody, we cannot let this opportunity pass. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest and get equity. And I will build a Twitter competitor to Elon Musk and his platform.
All right, Isaac Hayes III, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so very much. Folks, going to a quick break. We're going to come back, our final segment right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Hey, what's up? Geek Tony in the place to be. Got Kicked Out Your Mama's University, creator and executive producer of Fat Tuesdays, an air hip-hop comedy. But right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
All right, folks. Here's the whole deal. We talk about how people are going to be responding. Let's keep in mind, brothers and sisters, using the power of our vote, we can send this fool home a loser a second time. And see, that's the whole thing right here. See, the reason Donald Trump did this, and I'm going to start with Robert first. The reason Donald Trump needed NABJ to say yes, he's now back in the news. See, for the last almost 10 plus days, he has been a big player in all of this. Even Carl Roland on Fox News said, hey, he's not the top story. So he needed the bump. See, this is where you got to be smart and understand the game. As we say, game, recognize game. And so the Harris campaign, very smart. And I think, and here's the whole deal, what Trump wants, he wants this to dominate the shows tomorrow. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee's funeral tomorrow. Vice President goes dark on Friday, picking her VP. But this is where, if I'm the campaign, Robert, I'm focusing on his attacks on Rachel Scott. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to pull all those clips of when he attacked April Ryan, when he attacked Yamiche Alcindor, when he attacked Abby Phillips, when he attacked Jamel Hill. And what I'm saying is, sisters, this is how that man really feels. And then I'm going to pull how he attacked his former buddy, Omarosa. Then I'm going to pull how he attacked Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Then I'm going to pull how his then Chief of Staff, John Kelly, attacked Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. I'm going to roll all that stuff out. And I'm going to say, that's the contempt that man has for black women and black people. Robert?
You see, Roland, this is where I disagree with you on that, because 95+% of black women will vote for Kamala Harris in the upcoming election. We're going to see turnout numbers for her among black women that we have never seen before in American history. The question becomes, how can you get white women to see the humanity of black women? How can you get white women to see the attacks on Rachel Scott and April Ryan and Yamiche Alcindor and every other black woman that he attacks as attacks on women? Because if you look at those MAGA rallies, they are still about 54% white women who attend those exact same rallies. So the question has to become, and if I'm the Biden or the Harris campaign at this point, I'm taking every white female surrogate that I have, and I'm sending them to flood every news station tomorrow morning. So no matter what morning show you turn to, one show you'll have Jen Psaki on, another you'll have Claire McCaskill, another you'll have, Susan Sarandon, whoever the person needs to be pulling the message to explain that this isn't just how he feels about black women, this is how he feels about women in general. And combine that with J.D. Vance saying that any woman who isn't a broodmare is a childless cat lady. Combine that with Project 2025 and the attacks that they have on federal employees, a majority of whom are women, that they're going to be firing in that 50,000. Take that and combine that with the Supreme Court and their attacks on women's reproductive health, and let these white women nationwide know that this is not just Donald Trump attacking black women. This is an attack on all women in particular, and that if you turn out and you put this back into the White House, we will go back to an era of nasty women and not be able to do your job. And if you look at the attacks and smears that we've seen on social media against Vice President Harris. I posted some on Instagram a couple of days ago and had to take them down because I'm running a open tally on all the attacks that they're making against her. None of them are on policy. None of them are on anything other than her being a black woman and degrading and downgrading her because of that. And I think once you get white women coming on board saying start fleeing the Republican Party because of the way that they're treating Vice President Harris and other black women journalists and other black women in politics, that's when you start seeing these electoral numbers really change and start cascading downhill for them.
This is why I think Robert is wrong, Monique, because here's the deal. He just said she's going to get 95% of black female votes. The percentage is not the issue. It's turnout. The percentage of the vote, that is not the issue. You have to turn out numbers. And so when you are showing that constant disrespect, you are then targeting young sisters. You targeting those 30, 40-year-old, those 50-year-old sisters who worked on the job and had white men disrespect them and talk to them in a crazy manner. That's why you do it. Because here's the piece. And I get your point about the white women, Robert. But Biden's coalition was about 41 and 42% white. The reality is, you need the white women going to talk to the white women. But Obama won because he had higher black and Hispanic numbers, which offset his white numbers. So where the vice president is, and Monique, the reason the polls are showing what they're showing is because already her black numbers have gone up. She needs to drive her black numbers higher. And when you show that, you say to brothers and sisters, this is how that man feels about black people. That, to me, is what they should be doing.
Okay, well, would you listen to a black woman in the target demographic? I don't want to.
Well, I asked you the question.
I don't, and that's. But I'm saying I agree with Robert. It's not just that I don't need to see it in order to make me want to turn out, or any of the people who I'm speaking with. I don't want to see that. I don't need to see the reminder of the violence. I don't need the flashbacks. I don't need the re-triggering about the abuse. That's why what happened today at the NABJ was so offensive to April, to Yamiche, to Jamel, and to so many others. No, we are excited about the positive messaging and the honor being bestowed upon our sister vice president. We are enthusiastic because before this setback today, let's level set, as the VP would say, and try to act like today did not even damn happen. We were all coming together around lifting up the positive attributes and experience and expertise and qualifications and readiness of the vice president. And here this fool comes. I don't need to see my wannabe master doing his wannabe master stuff in order. I need to see more of her. He tried to steal spotlight today. He was successful. His vice presidential nominee is an idiot and was getting the light. So he came in, showed, remember, I'm idiot in chief. Remember me, remember me. So now everybody is wall to wall. They were covering the VP at her speech yesterday. Today they covering this moron. No, I don't want more of that. What we need is more positive messaging, and I agree to Robert's point. We need spokespeople in our white sistren community who's going to talk to their white sistren in their white sistren meetings and say, you know, he's not just doing that to our black sisters. Remember, he did the same thing to Hillary. Remember, he did the same thing to Nikki. Remember, he thinks the same way about Elizabeth. He don't like women, period. He's a woman hater. But that's on them. For us, we have to climb high. I'm not saying they go low, we go high. I'm just saying onward. We need to go onward.
So I'm going to jump in just to say.
I think y'all missed. I think Joy, I'm gonna go to you, but I think Monique missed what I said. She's speaking. She spoke to Sigma Gamma Road today. She's speaking tomorrow at Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee's funeral. Then she goes dark. So what I'm saying is, you can't hear her because she's not going to be out there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the reality is, you do have to use effective messaging to be able to. I'm looking at the comments. I'm looking at the sisters who saw it in real time who were offended. You have to use everything in your arsenal to be able to get your core base to turn out in even bigger numbers. And sometimes you're not talking to the highly educated sisters. Sometimes you're talking to the ones who don't have law degrees or master's degrees or undergraduate degrees, who have high school diplomas or who don't have high school diplomas. The whole point is, you have to drive up large numbers among their core group. And when they see this man attacking, I'm not done.
Okay.
When I see this man attacking brilliant sisters, you are speaking to them in another way. Joy, go ahead.
Some people vote for someone, some people vote against. In this election, we have both. If you want to vote for Kamala Harris, you got that. If you want to vote against Donald Trump, he is giving you ample reason to do so. we'll take it. Some Black women, Monique and I, we're good. We want the positive message. Others need to be inspired, right? They're kind of down on the election generally. They may be excited about her, but they need to be motivated. And this has to sustain itself, not just in this period through the convention, but even afterwards. So we're going to need Donald Trump to keep making a fool of himself, in a sense, to remind us of what the stakes are. This is also an opportunity, like we said, for white women. We need them telling their stories. Kamala Harris is a Black woman. We need Asian women telling their stories. She is an Asian American woman as well. We need them telling their stories, white women, all women, saying this is what he does generally. He is in a sense, a believed rapist, right? A judge has said that we believe that he engaged in sexual assault. We need to be talking about that. We have him on tape saying that that's actually okay. We need to be talking about that. We have something for everyone in this election, and we have to run with it and use whatever messages work where. And I think that also, I mean, you know, Donald Trump is, yes, he wants the attention. And there's, you know, I hate that he's going to be the story tomorrow, but there is no missed opportunity in politics. He's getting attention, but it's also an opportunity for us to showcase who he is and for us to have surrogates out there. Kamala, others, she may be dark this weekend, but other people can be out there talking. We'll all be out there talking, saying this is who he is. This is an example. That's what's so important about this moment. And I'm going to say one last thing. We need white men too. We need white men too. I love that there was a white man for Kamala call the other night. Is this who you are? He thinks he's talking to you. He thinks this is working on you. And it may be working on a good number of you, but it is certainly not working on all of you. And so you've got to ask yourself, is this, I mean, this is who he's saying we are, so I vote for him. I vote for the Republican candidate, and this is who he wants to signal to people I am. He is not worth it. Let him go. He should lose again. He is a loser. Don't you be a loser.
Folks, that is it. Joy, Monique, Robert, I certainly appreciate it. Folks, we are here in Chicago at NABJ. Happening right now, though, is a community celebration of the life and legacy of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. I am traveling to Houston tomorrow to attend her funeral. I will not be live on the show. We'll have a guest host because I'm flying back to Chicago for NABJ. But look for my content on social media that I'll be sharing as well. And so let's do this here. So we're going to close the show out, and then we're going to go to Houston for that live feed. And so I want y'all to support us in what we do. First of all y'all watching on YouTube right now doing big numbers, I need y'all to all be hitting the like button. Okay, all y'all should be hitting the like button. We should be doing ridiculous numbers. And so more than 10,000, almost 11,000 y'all have been on the stream, thousands on Facebook, on Twitch as well. And so all y'all should be hitting the like button. But also, we need your support. We need you supporting what we are doing. And that is the work that we're doing here at the Black Star Network, nobody else is doing. Covering the news that matters to you. Yesterday, Sonia Massey rally. First of all, Monday with Jalen Rose in his charter school in Detroit. Yesterday, Sonia Massey's rally in Chicago. Today, the Trump debacle panel here at NABJ. Tomorrow, Houston covering the funeral of Sheila Jackson Lee. Back here on Friday. And so we are doing the work. And so what we want y'all to do is support us in the work that we do. Your resources are important. If 20,000 of our fans give $50 each, that's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day, we can raise $1 million. That allows us to be able to pay for staff, pay for equipment. Listen, this box right here, this LiveView LU800, all them networks had the same thing out there. Y'all, that thing is $20,000. So the cost is real. So we need your support. We need your backing for all the things that we do. So please, we want you to stand with us. Send your check and money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered, PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo is RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Then I want y'all to download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Then, of course, I want you to also get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available bookstores nationwide. So please support us. That's it for today's show. We will now go live to Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church for the community-wide celebration of the life and legacy of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who passed away at the age of 74 from pancreatic cancer. We'll see you tomorrow.
Of these values, a testament to her unwavering faith and commitment to others. As we remember the Congresswoman today, let us be grateful for her legacy and the countless lives she touched. Her passion for justice and her dedication to serving others will always inspire us. We extend our deepest condolences to her family and to the beloved community that cherished her so dearly and she cherished as well. May Sheila Jackson Lee rest in peace, and may her memory be a blessing for all of us. Thank you.
Our scripture reading, let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I'll come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whether I go, you know, and the way you know. This is the word from our Lord. Praise be to God.
Praise the Lord. The Bible says in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, in everything, give thanks. Prof. Erica, Jen, and the family, we must give thanks for the life she has lived. And I want to thank God that the whole Zion is here and the whole Greater Hastings Ministers Fellowship, they are here, and the whole African community in the diaspora, we are here because she affected our life. Please may we bow our head in prayers. Our Father in heaven, we've gathered to say thank you, to celebrate a life that was well spent. We gather, Lord, our Father, to thank you for your amazing daughter, our Deborah, our Juneteenth warrior. We give thee thanks for this wise, wealthy woman, a mother in Houston, a mother in Texas, a mother of the United States of America and this generation. We thank you for the legacy she has left behind for us to emulate. We give thee thanks for the voice that she was to the voiceless. We give thee thanks for this trailblazer, an instrument of hope to the hopeless, a mother to the motherless, an instrument of inspiration to multitudes, encouragement to the discouraged, the strength of the weak, the epitome and beacon of unity, love for all without race or tribe. A lover that will step into our battles and fight as if it is her own. A mother indeed in her class. A champion, an unstoppable winner in everything. Lord, we give you thanks for who she is. She was a light to darkness, a woman that never takes no for an answer. We thank you for a woman that picked me up and tell me it will be well, even when it seems turbulent. You say, hold on to Jesus. We thank you, Father, for giving her to this generation. Lord, we thank you for the husband and the children that share her with us. We thank you for the love and the grace in which she carried everything. A woman that has no limit, that goes extra length for those who had no voice. Thank you for a life well spent. We give you praise. We give glory. For only you alone deserve the glory. We are grateful. Thank you, Lord. And thank you again. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
on the scarlet sea. Don't get lost, let it roll, He keeps my soul. My Heavenly Father wanted all of me.
Well, to God be the glory. So many distinguished guests have made their way to the city of Houston, and on this night, to Wheeler Avenue, we are honored by your presence. This family, likewise, is honored by your presence, undoubtedly. We have before us a listing of varying representatives who comprise a comprehensive listing of the innumerable communities that the Congresswoman impacted. These names will be read, and I will invite them all to come and stand here in this pulpit, and they will thereafter give their presentations as they're listed. In consultation with this family, the request has been made that remarks would be kept to 2 minutes. You laugh. For those who need assistance, there is a clock ahead of you. When it turns red, that's a good indication that it's time to wrap up your remarks. We have no shortage of remarks to hear this night, and so we pray that you would honor that request. We know that 2 minutes is not sufficient to speak to the breadth of the impact that the Congresswoman has made on any of us, but we thank you for attempting to honor that request. We'll now hear from the local community leaders. Brother Harry Johnson, chair of the Martin Luther King Memorial, good former president of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. We'll likewise thereafter hear from Brother Johnny Mata, former Texas State Director of LULAC, Brother Judson Robinson III, President and CEO of Houston Area Urban League, Sergeant Ali Lee, McHenry, who is a representative of the Congressional 18th District Security Team. And thereafter, we will insert Dr. Reginald DeRoche, who will give to us remarks. He is the president of Rice University. Receive them in that order.
Good evening. To the family of Sheila Jackson Lee, thank you for allowing me this time to talk about my relationship with your wife, with your mother, with your grandmother. I'm humbled and honored to be speaking here this evening on behalf of the Dr. Martin Luther King Memorial in Washington, D.C. There would be no memorial in Washington, D.C., but for the members of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity coming up with the idea. So I'd ask all men of Alpha Phi Alpha present tonight, please stand. Thank you, brothers. I want the family to know while she was a dutifully member and dignified sister of Alpha Kappa Alpha, she was always supportive of Alpha Phi Alpha. At our Centennial Convention in Washington, D.C., the Congresswoman took the mic and proudly proclaimed that she clerked for the first Black United States Senator this century, Alpha brother Edward R. Brooke, as she worked on his Fair Housing Initiative. She was very supportive of every past and including the current General President of Alpha Phi Alpha. I had the honor, when I was the president, to give her the Alpha Award of Honor, the highest honor Alpha Phi Alpha could give a non-member. However, I can tell you this, that the past general presidents when we would talk, say, where is brother Sheila Jackson Lee? We know she is somewhere in the house. So we claimed her as a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. What can I say about her support of building the 5th most visible memorial in Washington, D.C.? she was one of the first members of Congress to sign on to the bill to allow us to build the memorial. She worked across the aisle with Senator Robert Byrd, if you can imagine, and Thad Cochran, if you can imagine, to give us $10 million appropriation. She never, ever missed an event that we hosted in Washington, D.C. Never. In fact, sometimes when she was late, she called my son, Nick, and she said, "Where is your dad?" And he said, he's on a plane. She told him, tell him to get an iPhone, an Apple phone, because he evidently got one of them Google phones, and I can't text him. I want to text him and tell him I'm running late. A few years ago, Congressman Maxine Waters was all over the social media with, "I reclaim my time." Well, if Maxine can reclaim her time, in my opinion, Sheila Jackson Lee was the time. We all have been recipients of the Congresswoman's time. How many of you have ever received a call from her in the wee hours of the morning? Now, I'm not talking about 7 a.m. I'm talking about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And she would call and make a request of you. How many of you received a call saying, "I'm on the way"? And you would wait, and you would wait. And time started when she walked in the room. She was the time. Because she was always doing the work of serving others, her time was endless. How many of you received a call from her and she asked you to do something and you thought it was a request? No, don't get it twisted. It was not a request. She didn't make requests. She told you what to do. And guess what? You did it. She showed up at our kids' graduations. She showed up at funerals. She then got my kids' cell number. My daughter, who flies for United Airlines, would see Sheila, my daughter, say, "I saw the congressman." She said, "How's your dad doing? Let him know I'm looking out for you." And then she became friends with my youngest child, Nick, who worked for the State Department. Some kind of way, she got his cell number. And whenever Sheila needed something at the State Department, "Nick, I need a detail to meet me in Germany." He said, "Congresswoman, you're supposed to make that request 3 weeks ago." "Nick, I need a detail to meet me in Germany in the next 2 hours." And Nick did what she said. As I close, I simply say this. I have seen her in action in Washington, D.C. at a committee hearing. A few years ago, she got to the Committee on Interior, which was chaired by Congressman Joe Neguse, to give her the mic and then push forth the idea for the Freedom Trail from Galveston to Freedmanstown. The committee voted unanimously to put forth the legislation. We all know that State Representative Al Lewis and his push for Juneteenth. We all know about Opal Lee, but it was Sheila Jackson Lee who got Senator Cornyn to sign on the legislation making Juneteenth a national holiday. Sheila Jackson Lee was the time. There is no question. She was the time. I have text after text. I just read one earlier where she said, "I was with your son at the State Department, and I told Secretary Blinken, Dick Johnson's a great man. I hope that he becomes Secretary of State." Elwin, I have no power. Erica, Jason, I have no power. But if I did, Sylvester Turner, I would recommend that the Gulf Freeway from Galveston to downtown Houston be renamed the Honorable Sheila Jackson Lee Memorial Parkway. She deserves that honor. I claim the time in the name of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. God bless you.
Standing before you today, saddened like all of us, because we have lost a golden voice for justice. That is the Honorable
Sheila Jackson Lee. While some politicians are down on immigrants, she was there defending them. While people try to create barriers to keep immigrants out, she made sure that the laws that were passed would protect all of us, not just the rich, the affluent, or the ones that are anti-minorities. She was a champion for civil rights. But let me tell you, I will remember on my birthday, I had a celebration and she gave me these cufflinks. So I wore them here today, not only on her honor, but in the honor that I was asked to speak at this ceremony. I would like to think about the past, but I look at what she would be telling us for the future. You know, we are in some real tough situations in the world and locally in this nation. I don't have to tell you the problems, you know it better than I do. But if she was to tell us, if you want to remember me, continue voter registration, voter participation, and get others to do the same. She would also tell us that whether it's the business community, the corporate world, or politicians that are trying to turn the clock back to the old days, that our purchasing power, we have more purchasing power today, and to use it for those that's going to take care of us. So I think I've had the honor of working with her. And remember, when I was working at the Community Action Program after the 1964 Civil Rights Act, and I had returned from the military. And she called me and says, Johnny, she was in City Hall. There's some ladies that I have, mothers with children, and they cannot work because they have no child care. And she said, could you see if there's some ways that we can help them so they can help themselves? That is the kind of person she was. Always thinking of the others. And even prior to her departure, she was still involved after the storm. Keep her in your prayers, but more so, let's all get involved, because it's not going to get no better. And the less we do, the more hardships are going to fall on us. Brevemente, nomás quiero decirles que hemos perdido una persona con una voz de oro, gold, que no nomás peleaba por todos, pero por los inmigrantes. Una persona que consideraba que todos somos iguales. Por favor, de recordar que si estás cualificado para votar y registrarte, el poder está en el voto y la voz. Thank you.